Hey, thanks for having me here. I'm Florian, I'm with these people. I'm one of the founders of HiRes. And today I've got about an hour and a half of stuff that I want to take you through, and I've 45 minutes, so I have to get going. This is sort of what I've originally titled this. It relates a lot to sort of the way that we work, and it's based on my Twitter feed, which if you want to subscribe and see more about, that's my Twitter feed. And I don't use it as a conversational tool or anything. I just use it basically to remind myself of stuff that I think is important, things that I want to remember, quotes, things that come to my head, sort of fragments of stories. So I've just taken like lots of these things because they're all relevant to me in the way that I work, and I've sort of woven them into this talk. So they'll just keep popping up, and you'll see. It's kind of a little bit of, I always say it's a little bit of therapy for me to do these talks. But for those of us, for those of you who don't know us, so this is me without facial hair, and that's Alexander, my partner. We started HiRes about 13 years ago, and it's just the two of us pretty much working from our bedroom. We're now sort of in 4 different locations. So the two of us are doing London, then David is doing New York, then we foolishly sort of opened 2 offices in the same year. So Mike is leading our team in Hamburg, and then Sam, Matthias, and Paul are doing Berlin, which we opened about 2 weeks ago. So, you know, we're like in all these different locations now, and the reason we're doing this is because we never wanted to be more than 20 people in one place. So London's 20 people. When we got to 20 and the opportunity arose, we went, okay, let's go to New York. And so that's kind of how we're sort of doing all these sort of expansions that, you know, don't always make sense, but, you know, sort of, you know, we're just trying things out as we go along. These are some of our clients. As you can see, we do a lot of fashion. I'm desperately trying to do less fashion. Not because I don't like it, but, you know, if you have too much of one thing, it just gets a little boring. And I just want to show you some pictures of sort of what it looks like. I keep saying that I have to exchange this picture because they just all look so miserable in the picture. Because I didn't manage, I just sort of did this. Much better, isn't it? So this is where we work in London. Sort of all on one long table. And there's like several rooms. This is sort of when you first come in the kitchen. It's basically just sort of blackboard where you can sort of put anything on there. And we've been using it for the last 6 months. We've been using it as sort of an art space where people can come in and sort of just take over the whole space and just do things like this. This is one of the girls from Marika, I don't know which one of them it is. These are twins. They're from Australia, and they literally just came in. They just said, you know, what do you want me to put on there? So we gave them "Fail Better," which is, you know, another one of those quotes that's really important to us. And she just drew this on the wall, and we stream it live, and you can watch it. It's called The Kitchen Project. If you come to our site, you can see it. Just sort of a few more things. This is the mess that we work in. And we kind of like it that messy. I mean, we sort of go through these phases where we just want to, you know, sort of clean it up. But, you know, mess for me means that we're actually working. We're sort of doing things with our hands. We're walking around. We're putting things somewhere. And it's really important to us. So we've got like a little photo studio that we use. You know, we never throw stuff away. You know, like this is Alexander's first Mac. It still works. Photoshop used to fit on floppies. Those were the days. So, you know, I was just walking around and I just like that. Then, you know, so this is behind the sofa. I have no idea what any of that is. But it's just there, you know, because we bought it at one point. We also buy stuff for sentimental value. This is a Silicon Graphics O2, which I used to work on in the 90s. I don't think we've ever turned it on, but, you know, it's just something that we wanted to have. And just to sort of give you an idea, you know, we sort of do a lot of digital stuff. But, you know, a lot of the stuff, before it becomes digital, it goes through a very manual labor process. This is Andreas' desk. He sits next to me, and I run a second company, Navica, which I'm going to talk about in a second, with him. And, you know, that's on a good day. This is, you know, we build a lot of things. This was a prototype we did for a flower that basically opens when you walk up to it, and then sort of retreats when you walk back. So, you know, we have to sort of try out all these things. How does it work? We build these little prototypes. Everyone makes music, and everyone's a DJ, everyone makes music. But it's especially true for us. We have 1.5 bassists. Kind of hard to make that out of that. That's my bass. These are my samplers and my treasured Roman 99. That's my MS-20. That's my BMX. And not too old for this shit. This is the office that we opened in New York. Just want to show you a couple of pictures of that. We're sort of, it was like for us, that was a big adventure to sort of go there because we just had no clue what we were doing. We didn't know how to incorporate a company. We didn't know anything. We didn't know how to get a bank account. Obviously, without a bank account, it's really hard to get a studio space. And somehow, I don't know how, we managed all this. And we found this amazing space in Tribeca. So this is our studio there before we moved in. And it used to belong to an artist, and she was there for 30 years, and she literally moved out when we were looking. So, just in the spirit of just improvising, we didn't have desks, but we had chairs, and the chairs came in boxes. So we just took the boxes and made desks out of them. And we worked like that for about 3 months. It works. So these are just a couple of shots of the studio in Hamburg. So they're all a little bit different, but they all kind of feel the same. So HiRes, this is pretty hard to see, I guess. But this is our new logo that we redesigned. And I just want to talk a little bit about, I did a workshop or sort of a class a couple of days ago about storytelling. Stories are really important to us, and we like this idea of sort of quotes and sort of little bits of story that you can sort of then expand on for yourself. So when we were redesigning our identity, we were looking at like all of these different things, and we wanted to use a font that sort of, for us, sort of, ties in with the idea of storytelling. So we're looking for a serif font. But then we wanted to mess it up a little bit, so we took Times New Roman and did that to it, and now it's called New Times. And we use it for like all these little quotes that we put everywhere, and they're most prominent on our business cards. So everyone in the company gets 4 business cards, and the back is the same, but on the front they can put whatever quote they want to do. And obviously the beauty is when you go into a meeting, then you can sort of like hand out 4 or 5 cards, and we'll have lots of different quotes, and we'll give you a really good idea of the mindset of the people that you've just met in HiRes. But talking a little bit more about that, I just want to talk a little bit about, just like it's kind of like a manifesto that we did. It's based on Fishley and Weiss, How to Work Better. And I just wanted to pick out a few things that I always find quite good. I mean, one of them is respect. Respecting the people that you work with and the people you work for. I think a lot of people vilify the client, and it's always the client's fault. I don't think it is. Sometimes it is, but most of the time it isn't. And I think if you just respect everyone a little bit more, then you're going to be happier, I guess. Knowing that ideas can come from anywhere is something that we really try to practice as much as we can. So we get everyone from our studio manager to our finance person to our brand guardian involved in projects if we think they might want to contribute something to it. Don't be limited by the tools something that we've learned, not quite the hard way, but we had to learn because we've worked with Flash forever, and it's like, I always think it's like if you have a toolbox and there's just like a hammer in it and you're trying to fix everything with that hammer, it just, it doesn't work anymore. So, we sort of had to expand our sort of awesome palette of things that we can do. I think, being passionate about stuff, and I'm actually going to come to that later again, is super good. You have to be passionate about your work, but you also have to know that there are other things in life that are worth being passionate about as well. For example, I sort of gave up entering awards about 6 or 7 years ago, and I started showing what we did to my mom and dad, who until then had no clue what I was doing really. And then, and they understand it, and like for me, I appreciate that so much more than having another trophy sitting somewhere. I came across this a while ago, and I thought that was really, really good, and kind of really sort of, managed to express what we're aiming for. But I'll show you the opposite of that as well. So, on with the quotes, there's not enough African computers. It's something that Brian Eno said in Wired in 1995, so this was quite a while ago. And basically, if you just look at the last two paragraphs, you know, it's this idea that, you know, computers use so little of your body. You know, they use your hand, maybe your other hand, and you've got these input devices, you know, the mouse, the trackpad, the keyboard. They're not very natural. You know, and we were thinking, wouldn't it be nice to sort of do stuff that is, you know, a little bit more natural and involves your whole body? So, you know, we're looking at things that we were really passionate about. Like this is a thing. This is guy Ben Rosen, who's pretty much cornered the market for wooden mirrors. He sort of makes these amazingly beautiful sculptures that there's a little camera in the middle, and then, you know, the wooden pegs that just sort of like move towards the light or away from the light to sort of give you basically a grayscale image. And when you see them in person, they're just the most exquisite things to look at. And just look at this. And you know, this idea that you have a non-reflective surface and you use it to build a mirror is just absolutely fascinating. So, you know, these are the kind of things that we like. And this is probably one of my favorite artists, Raphael Hammer. And he did this thing which is called the pulse room. And it's just like a huge space full of lights. They're all pulsing. And then you've got these things that you hold on to, and it measures your pulse. And then sort of everything stops, and then it basically sends your pulse into the room. And I just thought that was such a beautiful, poetic thing. And I actually thought it was so good that we actually kind of took that, at least visually took that idea for one of our projects, which I'm going to talk about later. So, you know, we sort of came to this conclusion that, you know, we want to do these things that, you know, we don't do to make money, but, you know, just want to make money so we can make more of these things. So that's when we started Nanica. Nanica is, it's basically Andreas and me. Andreas has been with us since 2000, so pretty much since the beginning. He was our first employee. And we started this company just to sort of look at new ways of interacting with a machine, sort of beyond traditional input and output. And we also wanted to have sort of a way to sort of create objects. So one of them is this one. It's called Lamp North. And it's built on the idea that, you know, there's always sort of a place, you know, regardless of where you are, where, you know, you might rather be, or that's more important to you. And, you know, just finding a device that would show you where that place might be. So the idea is super simple. It's basically a lamp that if you turn it towards north, it turns on, and if you turn it away, it turns off. So these are kind of like the prototypes that we do. You know, see the little light bulb in the back. So that's how we work. That's how we prototype. And then you start building this, and then, you know, before you know it, you've got sort of a proper lamp shaped like an arrow. And this is kind of how it works. So yeah, you turn it away from north, it does that, and you turn it towards north, it does that. So, you know, we like these sort of really simple things, and, you know, like I said, a lot of what we do is about storytelling. And, you know, sometimes that can be the story, you know, like, oh, you know, it's a lamp, but if you turn it north, it turns on, if you turn it away, it turns off. And we like this idea of doing like really simple things that are easy to retell. So, because, you know, if you do something that is sort of, you know, a nice story, but a simple story, then, you know, people can tell it. So this is another project we did for John Lewis, which is a big department store in London. And it was basically, they wanted to showcase their lamp range, like all the different lamps that they've got. I don't know how many there were, but it was quite a few. And so the idea was to sort of build this little house. It's kind of, I don't know, yay high, well, a little bit more. And just fill it with the lamps, and then use music to sort of drive them as if they were like a graphic equalizer. So this is the control software that we built for it. So you can kind of see how that works, and then this is kind of like a track mode, and then when you put music into it, it starts lighting up in a second. So that was the idea. This was sort of the first prototype. We looked at it, and we just sort of had the lights go around. And then in the end, when we launched the thing, it was live for only 2 days at the South Bank in London. And that's one of the things that we've always said is that we want to do stuff that kids like. Because if kids like it, then you're probably onto something. You know, a bit like farmhouse mirrors, you know, where you can just sort of So, you know, when we saw this happen, we were like, yes, all right, we've done good. Breakdancing kids. But yeah, you know, I'm just going to throw this in really quickly. You know, there's too much focus on technology, I think. You know, there's too much. You know, if technology is your starting point, you're not starting in the right place. You know, you have to start from a great idea and then sort of extract it from there. And you know, this is quite a good example for that. We did this job for Hyundai. It's something that actually Bradley mentioned yesterday as a reference, and we actually sort of used the pulse room thing that I showed you as a reference for that, so you can sort of see also sort of, you know, going back to Alex's talk, how, you know, these things sort of keep evolving and people do different things with it. They had a new car that they wanted to launch at the Geneva Motor Show, and for the week before the motor show, they just wanted to tease the car and sort of give people sort of an idea that it was coming. No one really knew what it looked like. There were a lot of sort of conflicting sort of images of the car, and no one really knew exactly what it was like. So their idea was, why don't we do like a Facebook page with like a countdown? And we're like, yeah, that's good, but you know, how about we do something totally different? So our idea was we would build a bloody light rig and put a car under it, and then allow people to sort of turn some of these lights on from the comfort of their home, from their website, and they sort of see in real time how, you know, like parts of the car would be lit up. The logistics of that were insane because, you know, we had to build the website, we had to go to the warehouse, we had to build the light rig, we had to build the software to control all of this. We had to make sure that all of that sort of traveled to the warehouse in the shortest amount of time, and then was streamed back with webcams to the person that was looking at it on the screen. And for some miraculous reason, it actually worked. I have no idea. We had about 3.5 weeks to do it, and it was totally built on the best case scenario, and somehow it worked. This is sort of, you know, this is sort of all software stuff. This is how it looked. So we had this grid of lights, and you were animating it from above. You were just almost like with a brush, sort of drawing over it and just lighting up different lights. We sort of, because we obviously had time left over, I don't know, we sort of created a control software that was multi-touch on the iPad as well, so you could play around with that. And this was the first, this next video was the first test that we did. You know, at that time we still didn't have the actual car. We got the actual car 12 hours before. So this is the actual car. So you can kind of see how it works. I mean, these are like really rough sort of shots, but you can never see the whole car, you can only see bits of it. And then when you go up to the site, this is kind of how it worked. So, you know, this was kind of like the track mode. You'd sort of log in, and you'd sort of go, and then, you know, you move your mouse, and basically animate it. And then when it's done, 10 seconds, it plays it back to you on the screen. So yeah, and you can see that from 3 different angles. You can see from the front, 3/4 back, and sort of profile. And that was it. There's like a whole making off on our website. I'm not going to run you through that now. I'm going to get on to this. So, you know, we like working with light, and we sort of, you know, like the whole sort of live and performance element. So we were asked to sort of do some interactive stuff with the Kasabian tool, and it says, who the fuck is Kasabian, because I still don't know who they are. But they play to a lot of people. I don't know a single song, honestly. But what was nice about that is that it allowed us to sort of do something that, you know, we don't always get to do. You know, a lot of times what we do is about selling a product, you know, selling a thing, you know, like a shoe or a handbag or whatever, or a car. Here it's not so much about selling anything. You're basically, you know, people buy the ticket because they love the band, so they come, and we're basically giving them something that they didn't even know they were going to get. So we're playing around with all these different visuals, and you know, like most of the material I have is pretty shockingly bad because we're waiting for the DVD to come out, so we have. Yeah, we're going to turn that down a little bit because that's just really, really loud. But yeah, I just want to show you like a few things. You know, a lot of it is sort of stuff that's triggered by sound, so you can see here. Then, you know, sort of like extruding faces, you know, sort of lines. Quite a lot of different things, as you can see. And then one thing that we did was, they've got one it's called Lost Souls Forever. And we like this idea of sort of somehow connecting to the audience. And one thing you will find out when you work in these things is that people love seeing themselves like big on the screen. People just do. Like I don't, but if I was holding a camera into the audience now, you'd probably quite like it. So we did this thing. We did this thing where we're basically using face tracking software to track people's faces, and then sort of just draw a circle around their face, put soul in there, and then start connecting that to another person. And it basically sort of went on forever, and every sort of 10-15 seconds we took a snapshot and that was uploaded to Facebook automatically of those people. And this is kind of how it works. So this is what happens when it goes to Facebook, and this is kind of like the face tracking that sort of just goes on. And what was beautiful is that this kind of like this was so easy to do, and we just left it running. So even after the concert was done, people sort of kept singing the song because there was still this stuff happening on the screen. It basically went on for like another 10-15 minutes, and most of the shows, which I think everyone really enjoyed that. So just a few more frames about all of that's going to be on the American side pretty soon, and probably in better quality. But yeah, I just want to show you one thing that I think is interesting, just to give you an idea of how we work and how we pitch. So a lot of the stuff when we pitch, for us, it's always a way that we can experiment with stuff that we haven't really done before. So we were asked by Milk to produce a site for them, and they've got a milk campaign that's been running in California Dairy Association. And they wanted to have sort of a fountain, like a milk fountain, but the idea was that it's the real milk, it's not soy milk, it's not that. So they wanted to do something that would actually sort of bring that into focus, and they wanted to have a real website, something that's like built, actually made out of things. So this is we sort of just gather sort of like things that we think are interesting. We look a lot into how would we shoot it, what's the kind of photography that we want to do. So this is the actual presentation that we gave. Always nice to play with tons of demand. And then this was the first model that we built. We just we prototype a lot of stuff in 3D just because it's quick and it's easy, and we sort of wanted to see what that looks like. So it's like bananas and skulls and bones and all that stuff. And then what we did is we sort of basically found this software that would allow us to take a polygonal model and actually print it out to paper, and then to build that model in sort of cardboard. So this is the actual model that we built. It's about this big. We had to simplify it quite a bit, but we just wanted to do it as a test. And our poor intern had to actually glue all of that together, but he did a marvelous job. And then, once we got to this, we were like, oh, well, we have to start accessorizing it, so we started buying horses and trees and cows and people. And it sort of just became sort of, suddenly what was supposed to be a pitch that was supposed to be over like in a week just became this sort of 3-week-long sort of personal project that we did. I'm just going to skip over this and get on to the next one because like everyone else, I'm sure on time. But I want to talk about this. This is a project we did for The Economist, and it was called Thinking Space. And the idea was to really let people see the space where like everything comes together for people. That one place that you're at where you can really sort of expand your mind, sort of think and come, have everything come into focus. And we looked for sort of a visual metaphor for that, and it's very close to the stuff that Myron was showing. This is an artist called Eva-Lareine, and I totally love his work. This is one of his earliest works. But he would sort of paint these things that you could only see from one angle. One angle would all come together. And sort of over the years, he sort of did bigger things. So this is a car park or something. And again, it's just drawn on all the different surfaces. And then for some reason, people let him do the same thing in buildings and sort of different cities. So those more things. And then my favorite one is this one, where he basically just took over a whole village somewhere in the Alps and just drew big circles on everything. You can only see from that one place. So we thought this would be nice, sort of like as a metaphor, things coming into focus, things coming together. So we basically used that idea to do the site. So we built this sort of structure. There's like 10 people on there, like the founder of Spotify, some art directors, some architects, fashion designers, journalists, all people who we thought would be interesting. And then basically what happens when you click on it, like all this stuff sort of comes together. And it just became this really playful interface. There was a lot of content hidden behind the interface. You could really explore what is in these spaces that sort of inspires them. But really sort of, going back between the things became as much fun as going through the content, so as you can see here. So this was a pretty big success for The Economist. So we decided to expand on that in 2011, and we did Thinking Space 2. Only this time we thought it would be so much cooler if we could just take all of this, and rather than sort of just have like 10 interesting people, just open it up to everyone. So everyone can contribute with their thinking space to any map in the world. And it's kind of meant to be like almost like an alternative tour guide. If you come to a city, there's places that you should see, but these are like places that people would actually upload. Now there's a website where you can sort of browse through all of this, but really sort of the heart of the whole thing was the iPhone app that we created for it. So this was, would detect your location and then sort of give you all the different thinking spaces that were uploaded around you. You could browse them, you could obviously get the route to go there. You could look at the space, you could have audio that goes with it, everything was tagged. And there's some really inspiring spaces that come up, and this sort of worked across the world. We're trying to focus on 5 or 6 cities, but obviously this works wherever you are. Moving on to this, very true. I had a call. Well, we've worked with a director called Dan Aronofsky for the last 12 years. He did films like Pi, Everything for a Dream, and he did a film called The Fountain that we did the website for in 2003. And while we were working on that, he gave me a call and he said, "Oh, do you know what? I want to do a book. Do you know anyone that's good at designing books?" And obviously, I had never designed a book in my life, so I said, "Yes, we can do this." And he was foolish enough to let us do it. And for us, it was great, because super steep learning curve. Just how to deal with lots of things, and think about how do we sort of express things that normally we do in motion or interactively. How do we do it on printed paper? So this book came out, and Rizzoli published it in New York. And this is like just an example. She's dying of cancer in the film. So how do we sort of make that her sort of disappearing? How do we visualize that? How do we visualize emotion? There's like really beautiful things where we had these 2 images that were never together in the film, but I just found them sort of going through the film and suddenly you sort of go, wow, there's a symmetry here that we can explore. And the whole thing came with a script, so you could read the whole script of the film as well. Because that worked quite well, he sort of asked us to do the book for the wrestler as well. He didn't ask us to do the site, so I don't know what that says about our digital skills. The problem with the wrestler book was that basically the wrestler won the Golden Lion in Venice, and they pulled everything forward. So rather than having 4 months to do the book, we had only 6 weeks. So then something we had to improvise because we had a clear idea of what we were going to do. So we focused on the script, and the idea was that we would just do like a typographic treatment where we would take the script and sort of just make it look like it reads. So there's a lot of experimenting with type and a lot of messing things up and sort of, really sort of, bringing things to the foreground when they should be louder or should be more prominent. Another thing we've never done is magazines. And a friend of mine runs a website called Stars Zeitgeist, and it was like 5 years old. He wanted to have a party, and I said, "Why don't you make a magazine? Wouldn't that be cool?" And I thought I was not being totally serious about it, but he was. And lo and behold, about 8 months later, we did the first issue of Stars Zeitgeist magazine. Again, something we've never done. We've never done a magazine, and it's for us, it's really nice, and it's a great magazine where we've got like a 20 double-page spread feature on how shoes are made. So it really sort of allows us to explore a lot of different things. And we're actually on to the 2nd issue now. PJ Harvey on the cover, a lot of really amazing content in it. And it's nice for us because we're sort of I mean, wallpaper is amazing. Will probably take a long time to even get anywhere close to that. But for us, it's just interesting to sort of keep learning and keep trying out new stuff. And I always say, I always want to stay stupid. I like this idea of being a little bit naive, a little bit stupid, because I don't ever want to be a specialist in anything. Because I always think if you know what you're doing, you're going to do what you know. And I never want to be at that point. So you constantly sort of throw yourself into new stuff that you have to figure out. And this being one of them. But I was talking about this, aim here, between pretty and useless, pretty and ugly and useful and useless. Every once in a while, you should do something that's pretty useless. And for us, that was a project that we did with Doritos. And it really sort of didn't make a whole lot of sense, but it was a lot of fun, and it was just something that we could really sort of try some new things in. The idea is that they have these crisps, and they're called late night, and they come in flavors like doner kebab and hamburger, and like the kind of food that you sort of eat after a long night out and then you vomit it out. They have that in crisp form. Absolutely amazing. I never tried them actually, so but the idea is it's all about nightlife, and so they signed up Rihanna, this lady here. And they were like, okay, we want to do this interactive music video with Rihanna, and we need you to find a director, and we need a concept for this. All they knew was that they were going to have a marker on every crisp packet, like an AR marker that you could hold up in front of your camera. So I got to work with Jonas Ackerlund, who's done 3 feature films, but also about 300 music videos. He's done a lot of stuff with Lady Gaga, with Madonna. He's just a crazy, crazy Scandinavian person that I relate to very well. And I've been wanting to work with him for about 7 years. So, we finally made this happen. And what we want to do is, basically, we went through a lot of different permutations of how we were going to do this. But in the end, we basically shot 2 videos. One was a day, a really bright video, and the other one was a really dark night video. And we shot it in LA. This is the stage set. It was huge. Pictures can't really quite tell how big that stage was. So this is the day side, and then this is the night side of the same thing. This is Rihanna's input. And the way it worked was kind of like this. So we had these 2 videos. They were completely identical in terms of the shots that we had. The edit was the same. The dance was the same. And then every time you sort of took your packet of crisps and you held it up in front of your camera, like now, it would switch to the night side. So the idea was really simple interaction. You hold it up, you see the black one, you put it down, you see the other one. And that all with this marker that we had. That was fun. What we really wanted to do was this. They had like 5 bands that they'd signed up all over the world that they wanted to showcase, and we suggested that we should film everything with a 360-degree camera that would allow you to sort of interact with you, just turn around as it was playing. So this is one of the videos. This is for a UK artist called Professor Green. So I'm just going to give you like a short introduction to this. So basically, what you see here, that's me actually sort of interacting with the site and sort of looking around. What's amazing about this is that you can't hide anything. You can't hide any lights. You can't hide people. You can't, there's nothing because you see everything. It's also really difficult to shoot because you kind of, if you look down, you can see the camera operators, so you either have to use very small camera operators, like really short people, or we have like these motorized robots that we could use as well. So this for us was like one of those projects where there's really no sense to it. There's no sense of why we were doing it. It's just like a marketing thing. But we learned so much on it, and we got to try out so many things, and we got to work with so many amazing people that that's why I say every once in a while you can do this. One thing I want to show you, and this is probably almost the last thing, is the work that we're doing for Nokia. And we worked with them since, from 2005 to 2009 on their flagship stores. So they have like all these screens, they're like freely configurable anywhere between 1 and 60, and it just creates this endless canvas. And they asked us to produce content for it together with Universal Everything and Tomato. And this is one of the things that we did. But like what for us was really important was that we wanted to see if we could bring some of the magic back to the mobile phone. Because I remember when I had my first mobile phone, I could not understand how it was possible that I was sitting somewhere on a beach and I could talk to someone that was like thousands of miles away. It was like really sort of mind-boggling. And now you just don't turn it off, and you're just annoyed by it, and it doesn't work. So we wanted to bring some of that back, and I found this clip by this man who I like a lot. And just have a listen to it because he sort of has the same sentiment.
We live in an amazing, amazing world, and it's wasted on the crappiest generation of just spoiled idiots that don't care, because this is what people are like now. They got their phone, they're like, it won't. Give it a second. It's going to space. Can you give it a second to get back from space? I was on an airplane and there was internet, high-speed internet on the airplane. That's the newest thing that I know exists. And I'm sitting on the plane, they go, open up your laptop, you can go on the internet, it's fast, and I'm watching YouTube, but I'm in an airplane. And then it breaks down. And they apologize, the internet's not working again. Next thing goes, this is bull. How quickly the world owes him something he knew existed only 10 seconds ago.
So, I'm totally with him on all that. And we just wanted to sort of, we had like very sort of simple tools, this was like 2005 when we did this. But we wanted to bring some of that back and just sort of allow you to use your phone to do something that you didn't know your phone could do. So what we did is we created this thing called Swimming Message System, which basically allowed you to send a text message to the store, and then it would appear on the screen, and it would sort of start to behave like just like fish that swim in the water. And it was just sort of really calming, really sort of beautiful to watch, and it was just something that took something super mundane, like sending a text message, and sort of transformed it into something that was just kind of beautiful to watch. And this is kind of what it looked like, and how all these messages sort of swim through the hot stove. So I've got 3 minutes left. So I just want to leave you with some stuff that goes back to this thing I was saying earlier, that it's great to be passionate about your work, but it's good to know that there's other stuff. This is a quote I found the other day, and I kind of think it's true. I want to be happy, and I want you to be happy. So it's just a few things. I think it's great to have kids. Those are my kids. I'm not telling you all to have kids. You want. But if you do have kids, and you're sitting alone in a hotel room in Auckland, and you're on Skype, you get something like this. It says, "I love you, Dad." How cool is that? I know. But what they also do, they teach you to see the world differently. And this is for me, it's been such an eye-opener. I was talking in the masterclass I was doing about how I have to tell a story to my kids every night. And it can never be the same story, and they dictate what the characters are. So it's like Spider-Man, Butterfly, and Optimus Prime. And you kind of have to go, okay, I'll tell this story. But they sort of teach you to see the world differently. Like, this is a tree just down the road from my house. I've been walking past that tree for 4 years. Until, I was pushing my dog on the ground, she's like, "Look, Daddy, shoes." And I looked up and I said, "Full of shoes." I have no idea, I'm told it's sort of gag-related. But it's just sort of, you see, you look up and go, oh. I've really made that sort of my thing. Wherever I go, I look up because I want to see the whole thing and not just walk around like that, because then you sort of see things like that. Or this, this is one of my favorite doors. This is at the Amsterdam airport, and it's like a heavy wall with heavy doors going absolutely nowhere. It's just like, it just stands there in the middle of the thing. I don't know what it does. But, so, it's sort of more about being open to things. And, this is an Arsenal fan. If you catch it, just I love making pancakes, and one day I made a pancake that looks like Alfred Hitchcock. These are some of the toys of my kids, and we call them Itchy and Scratchy, and yes, there is a questionable choice. I will pay for therapy at some point. But they have no clue who Itchy and Scratchy are, so they will just dress them up like Bulgarian folklore dancers. It's just nice to sort of, kind of let go of the context and just sort of look at things differently. And because, then you can just be silly, like this. This is something we did. I have no idea what we did this for. It was just fun, It was just kind of like, watch it forever. Rachel hates me for showing this. And also, I like this idea of being fearless. If you can be silly, and if you sort of can see things out of context, you can become quite fearless. And this idea of remembering the compliments and forgetting the insults, it's something that I'm obviously still working on. But I think the biggest thing for me is that I've come to the conclusion that I should be grateful because I can do whatever I want. I've got a company that allows me to do some amazing things. I get invited to Auckland to speak to you. I mean, how amazing is it? So this is my desktop. This is another quote. This is from Kurt Vonnegut. And it's something that I sort of look at every day, and I just try to sort of instill that in my mind. And the last image I want to show you is probably one of my favorite pictures ever. And sort of, I just want to say, it's good to dream. If I could go to bed like that every night, I'll be a happy man. Thank you very much.
I want to present